half here at the Vale Park ground without a seat left in the house, really. It is Port Vale that defend the goal away to my right and attack the goal away to my left, and the ball is played forward. This time it is Norgard that holds up Patton. Crosdale gets the ball in, pass is played inside, blocked by Eze, brought down nice on the far side by Deborah. Deborah plays it forward, still a player down for the side in black and white, Port Vale, and it was Patton that found himself a little bit caught. Thought he should have got a foul, but didn't get a foul from our referee tonight. Strong challenge he felt by Eberechi Eze, who stood down on the inside of his ankle, but I think it was no intent there whatsoever. We're into the first minute of the second half, and Arsenal, defending the goal away to my right, have a throw on the far side, which Lewis Skelly throws towards the halfway line. Saka hooks it over his shoulder. That'll go away harmlessly on the far side of the pitch, just about on the halfway line, for a throw to Port Vale, which will be taken by Jesse Deborah, who plays at the right of a back three for Port Vale. Darren Moore will be on the touchline, sucking the life out of his tie on his hoodie, and he is doing so alongside, in the other technical area, Mikel Arteta. He'll be happy that as this game has progressed, Arsenal, yes, have had terrific domination, 78% of ball possession in the first half, but has limited them to really only two chances, one of which was taken and one which was saved by Gauchi. Both of the attacking shots, goal coming from Eze and a save from the boot of Eze as well. A little bit disappointed, I think, Eberechi Eze with that second one. Port Vale then making inroads on the far side, and they've got a throw level with the 18-yard box of Arsenal, away to my left-hand side, and Jordan Gabriel Lawrence drives the ball in his shirt on the far side of the pitch. He's going to wind up for a long throw into the penalty area of Arsenal, away to my left-hand side. Connor Hall is there with Saliba, and they're dancing around Kepa Arrizabalaga, but the referee, Mr. Kitchen, comes in and says, I need you to look at the ball instead of looking at the player. Here comes the throw. Gabriel Lawrence is about to launch it long. Up to the side of the pitch now. Arches his back, launches it long. Headed on at the front post by Curtis. Hall can't get there. And Nwaneri clears his lines for Arsenal. Humphries tries to play a short ball near side, cut out by Saka. Saka to Marino. Run through the centre by Martinelli. Joe Gauchi comes out of goal. On loan from Aston Villa for Port Vale. Slides a tackle in, wins the ball and lays it forward. Rory Patton goes down under a challenge from Saliba and gets no free kick yet again. Nwaneri just by the lip of the centre circle on the Arsenal side of the pitch. Out to the left back, Lewis Skelly. Back to Mosquera. Infield to the central point of the Arsenal half, which is to the left of the halfway line, to William Saliba. As Arsenal just try and take a little sting out of a pretty lively opening 3 minutes here by Port Vale. Near side, Ben White up to the halfway line to Saka. Saka being held up by Headley. Holds him off, Saka does. He gets walking further and further into the half of Port Vale. And in fairness, Saka, in my eyes, and I don't wish this to be disrespectful, was looking for a foul when he was holding on to the shirt of Jaheim Headley. Ball is back inside the penalty area of Arsenal, away to my left-hand side, and Arrizabalaga plays it out to the right-sided centre half. Here is Saliba. Saliba down the line to White. White can't get there. Headley just jags in there and then just lets it run across his body and out of play. But a good ball played forward by Arsenal that set Martinelli on his way, who saw the advancing on loan Aston Villa keeper and thought better of the challenge, and the keeper went in with a lovely sliding challenge for getting up and knocking it right-footed up the field of play. Quite interesting to see. 50 on the clock here. Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1 here at Vale Park. Port Vale have a free kick just on this near side, and it's going to be Ronan Curtis who is going to look to knock this free kick in towards the Arsenal penalty area, away to my left-hand side. This is it right-footed. Arsenal hold a line a good 4 yards outside their penalty area, away to my left-hand side. Players trying to get a run on. Lewis Skelly and Connor Hall having a almost tickling fight on the far side. As it played in deep into the box, headed on by Deborah, brought down inside the penalty area by George Hall. Just run away from him. Nwaneri inside his own penalty area, knocks the ball long, and the free kick taker Ronan Curtis chests it down Plays it inside to Reece Walters. Walters goes back this time to Humphries. Humphries into the feet of Connor Hall and out on his near side. Reece Walters had to win that challenge. Did win the challenge, and Bukayo Saka is down in a heap on the floor on this near side. It's a strong footballing challenge there. No intent or malicious intent there whatsoever. But Bukayo Saka is still down in a heap. It was in between the two, but just seeing it again in slow motion. Walters gets there first, then he goes through on the top of the foot. Didn't see that at the time. But Bukayo Saka's seems to be holding his right knee as Mikel Arteta and his number 2 are in deep conversation, at which point do they give Bukayo Saka the minutes to play. Bukayo Saka, having laid on the pitch without no treatment from anybody, picks himself up. It's holding just his right knee. So it was just an impact between the two. This feels bad that the big boys often feel as though the youngsters want to take themselves a little bit of a scalp. But as we look at the Arsenal substitutes warming up, we should really look at the two benches today. The bench for Port Vale: Byers, Clark, Cole, Fal, Garrity, Hennigan, Morosi, Ojo and Jayden Stockley returning from injury. The bench for Arsenal: Calafiori, Dauman, Gabriel, Gyökeres, Raya, Rice, Timber, Trossard and Zubimendi. Wow. And that is without these people that are injured, which is Jesus, Havertz, Hincapi, Madueke and Odegaard. Missing for Port Vale, Gordon and Kyle John. There we are. I think I brought you up to just about everything as we see Arsenal try and play out of their defence. Saliba in between the two centre halves is Norgard. Cross to Mosquera from Norgard. Square 6 yards outside the penalty area of Arsenal to Saliba. Saliba out to Ben White. Oh, he's asked a lot of Ben White there, and no wonder Ben White turns around and has a quick look at William Saliba. Almost from the moment it left the centre half's foot, Ben White wasn't getting that. Throw to Port Vale, near side. Left wing back Headley. One of 4 changes tonight for Port Vale from their victory at the weekend against Mansfield. Throws down the line towards Curtis. Referee's got a job on to decide if that come off White or Curtis. He elects to say it comes off Ben White, and it's going to be a throw which Headley will take just about on the halfway line, in between the two technical areas, beneath the camera vantage point here in the main stand at Port Vale. Thrown long towards Curtis, headed away this time by Ben White, and garnering yards down the Arsenal right and the left. Port Vale try and make their way forward. 24 yards from the corner flag defended by White, thrown in by Headley into the chest of Curtis. Back to Headley. Headley holds off his man. Back to Connor Hall, who, as any good League One centre half does, just thumps the ball up in the air. Curtis goes in for a challenge this time with Norgard. Ends up on the floor, holding, I'm not sure if he's holding his face or his back or his shoulder, but looks to be in a bit of pain. Ronan Curtis. Get a replay here. I'm not too sure I can see too much wrong with Norgard's challenge there. He just went up. It must be the twisting action, although as with most players, when you get caught unawares, it always feels like it was always going to be a foul. 55 on the clock, Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. Goal scored by Eberechi Eze in the first half. Just a couple of chances, both fell to Eze, one taken, one saved by Gauchi, the keeper, in the first half. Martinelli in, Lewis Skelly with a dummy stroke flick. Eze got the ball, let it roll across his body, some 12 yards out from goal, from his left to his right, and then literally put the ball in the bottom corner of Gauchi's net. And Ronan Curtis at the moment is sat down by the side of Darren Moore's technical area this time, as he saw the ball out of play with Saliba, and then Marino came along and we've got players on the floor, and Ronan Curtis has at the moment just getting under the skin of maybe Premier League Arsenal. 55 minutes as we go. 16,326 in the game today, with just under 3,030 off of 3,004. Arsenal visiting Vale Park, possibly for the first time in a long time. But that 13,000 Port Vale fans need something to hang their hats on at the moment. Curtis tries to play the ball around the back of his legs. Arsenal pick it up. Marino spreads the ball out. Real chance on here for Martinelli. Humphries is quick across the ground. Plays it back to his keeper, but rather overhit it. And it's gone away for the first corner of the second half. Arsenal's third of the game here. Humphries was in charge, got himself in crossing in front of Martinelli, but flicked it wide of the goal, and Joe Gauci couldn't get across to stop it going out for a corner. Goal away to my right-hand side. It's going to come in from Joe Gauci's left-hand side as he looks out of the goal. Bukayo Saka stands over this corner for Arsenal. Into the 57th minute. They've gone short a few times, Arsenal, and again they go short again. Out to Lewis Skelly, back to Saka. Saka with a chance to take on his man. Plays it into the feet of Eze, back out to Lewis Skelly and across to Nwaneri. Nwaneri's first touch allows him to be shut down by George Hall. Nwaneri is still on the football and plays it out to the new right back, Miles Lewis Skelly. He goes further down the line to Eze. Back inside to Saka, back to Eze. Eze rolls the ball from wide into the centre circle on the Port Vale side of the pitch to Saliba. Saliba to Mosquera. Mosquera to Nwaneri, who tries to slip it over the head of Headley. Saka gets there. Headley's there, plays the ball out of play. Well marshalled by Headley, but it is yet another corner to Arsenal. Away to my right-hand side, and again Joe Gauci will look out to his left, right down by the point of my right shoulder. Interesting that Arsenal several times here have not elected to go in to the penalty area. They've gone short a few times, normally with Saka and Eze, but this time it's Saka that walks out to take. Eze goes away from the corner this time, but still Lewis Skelly patrols slightly further out for a right foot delivery should it be rolled out to him. Stands out by in line with the 18-yard box, but wide of the 18-yard box in front of those Arsenal fans. Saka delivers this time, front post, headed away by Humphries. Corner number 2 on the trot, going to come in from the same side. Although the referee seems to have elected that Mosquera got the final touch, which somewhat defeated me with that one. Yeah, it's very difficult to see. It is a goal kick, so that corner that I just put on my notes has to be eradicated. Mikel Arteta, he'll want his side to come unscathed. He'll want minutes in the legs of players that haven't played a great deal, and he'll want a convincing victory with no alarms. Well, he's leading by 1-0, or his side is, but the ball goes hooked over the top. Mosquera's under pressure from Rory Patton. Plays down the line on the far side. Mosquera won back by Port Vale, but the ball inside wasn't good enough there from George Hall. And Adesabalaga gets his kit dirty, sliding out to get the ball before it falls at the feet of Ronan Curtis. Goals at the moment: Newcastle 2, Bradford 0, Spurs 2, Doncaster 0 as well in the other games. And we know that Manchester City were leading away at Huddersfield by 1-0 as well. Norgard, 18 yards inside his own half for Arsenal, which is to the left of the halfway line. Plays it square to Mosquera. First time ball back to Adesabalaga, who clips the ball out back to Christian Mosquera. He takes his time, goes back to Kepa Adesabalaga. I thought had a fabulous season, just my own humble opinion, for Bournemouth on loan last year. And I think he's still a snip for Arsenal as a number 2. I do wonder sometimes if he's possibly a number 1 for Arsenal in future weeks. Arsenal have the ball. Saliba to White, back to Saliba. Arsenal just holding the ball just outside their own penalty area and playing that band that's about 18 yards wide outside of their penalty area. Mosquera up to the feet of Martinelli, round the corner to Marino. Marino inside the centre circle on the Arsenal side of the pitch, which is to the left of the halfway line. Out to Saliba. Saliba down the line to White. White back to Saliba. Back into Norgard. Norgard this time gets the ball back from Mosquera up to the feet of Martinelli. Tracked all the way back there by Connor Hall. He now has to retreat back to his centre-half position. 60 on the clock. It's still Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. Eze gets the ball to Martinelli. Martinelli now 15 yards inside the Port Vale half, which is to the right of the halfway line. Eze, Nwaneri. Eze into the feet of Marino. Marino to Norgard. Norgard edging himself to the right-hand side. Nobody beyond him. Goes in field to Saka. Saka 6 yards outside the Port Vale penalty area. Way to my right. Back to Mosquera. Across to the left back Miles Lewis Skelly. And now out to Martinelli. Faced this time by Gabriel Lawrence. Tries to play it in. Finds the feet on the edge of the box of Lewis Skelly. Rolled out this time to Saliba. Saliba 15 yards outside the penalty area. Plays it right hand side to Saka. Saka this time cuts in field. Into the feet. Back to goal of Nwaneri. Back to Lewis Skelly. A little bit congested for Arsenal, but a chance here for Norgard to pick out Ben White. White 12 yards from the dead ball line. Pulls it into the box looking for Eze, but it's flicked off the heels of a Port Vale player. Shot goes in as it falls to his feet by Nwaneri, and Connor Hall inside his penalty area clears his lines, and Port Vale managed to breathe yet again. And first change of the game going the way of Arsenal, and it is the talented wonder kid coming on, who is going to get on. It is young Dowman, who is about to come on for Bukayo Saka. He's got the minutes in his legs, but Dowman is a little bit of a teenage sensation, and he comes on, and Mikel Arteta, with a burgeoning talent, will need to be very careful, but he's somebody that excites a lot of players. Saka's off. Next time aboard on New Year's Eve in 2009. 2009. Wow, amazing. He is a very talented player. Just 15 years of age, 16 on New Year's Eve. Precocious talent. He comes on for Arsenal this evening to see if he can make the difference. Gets his first touch, plays the ball back to Ben White. White back to Saliba, 6 yards outside the Arsenal penalty area, away to my left-hand side. Square to Mosquera. Mosquera down the line to Lewis Skelly on the halfway line. Tries to get away from George Hall, spins him around. Plays it infield to Eze, back to Lewis Skelly. Loose ball back there to, well, good ball back, I would say, to Saliba. But a loose first touch on his right-hand side. Gets it to White, back to Saliba. Across to Eze. Eze 7 yards inside his own half. Arsenal defend the goal away to my left-hand side. Ben White with the ball down the line, looking for Dowman, but even the precocious talents of a 15-year-old boy can't get the ball down if it's nowhere near him. Going to be a couple of changes coming for Darren Moore's side in just a moment. Can't see for now, but I've been told by members here in the press box that there is action down below. Port Vale are still in this game. 65 on the clock. Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. There's been 2 chances, 2 for Eze. One he scored, one saved by Gauci, and a break by Martinelli in the second half, which saw a fine sliding tackle and clearance by the keeper, Joe Gauci, as well. But otherwise, they've been limited to getting too close to the frame of the goal of Port Vale. Good work up front this time by George Hall, although he's been alleged to have gone from offside to onside. I can't really say too much, so I was following the ball as it came up to him. And Ben White thumps a free kick from right to left, but he's hit it far too hard, and it clears ahead on the far side of Martinelli and goes out of play. And there are to be some changes now to be made by Darren Moore. First is Billy Garrity. He's going to come on and replace George Hall in the middle of the park. And Ben Garrity comes on, wearing the 8. Played on Saturday. First change of the game, takes the captain's armband, and the other person to go off is Jordan Gabriel Lawrence, who is going to be removed, and he's going to be replaced by the young gentleman who is just jogging onto the pitch on the far side of the pitch. Wasn't too sure if it was who it was actually there, so I've got to be careful over the next few minutes to make sure that I get this right. But what I do know is that Garrity was one change. As the ball is played forward by Arsenal towards the halfway line, Marino rolls it back to the edge of his own penalty area, along the ground into the feet of Mosquera. Mosquera now plays it down this near side. Diamond gets a touch, gets away from Headley, going square across the Arsenal half, 6 yards inside the Arsenal half, plays the ball out on the far side to Lewis Skelly. And it is Clark that has come on wearing the number 2. And he will, Welshman will take up that right wing back role for now. Norgard tries to slip it out near side. Diamond's got him behind Headley. Stops the ball, faces Headley, tries to get in the penalty area. Port Vale went up on right, down to the dead ball line, holds it up. Headley really does stand his ground well. He's had Bukayo Saka, wonder man of England, and now he's got the precocious, talented Max Diamond in front of him. Chance now for Arsenal with Ben White to try and put the ball into the box of Port Vale away to my right hand side. Unfortunately, he's elected now to leave it to Christian Norgard. Norgard away to my right hand side, looking to throw into the Port Vale penalty area, launches it long, heads go up, gets it away to the edge of the box. Ben White waits for the ball to sit down, but doesn't wait long enough and sweeps wildly through it with his right boot, and it goes high over the crossbar of the Port Vale goal, away to my right hand side. Chance here at Newcastle, we've been told. Bradford have got a goal. There's going to be another change down beneath us as well. Looks like Ojo or Devante Cole. Could well be Devante Cole that is getting stripped and ready for action. Two front men, Ronan Curtis and Ryan Payton, have given their all at the top of the park. Ball's back in play here. Crosdale puts it over the top. This should be offside if it does break its way through to Rory Payton, but in fairness, Alas Balaga was very quickly off his line. Very close call there, but it's got to be a long throw. Clark is going to look to try and launch this in now. The new right wing back into the penalty area. Saliba and Connor Hall resume hostilities inside the penalty area, and Clark's throw's gone up and not into the box and headed away by Eze. Clark to Crosdale, back to Clark on the far side, faced by Eze, down the line, played into the feet of Garrity, little back heel, Clark with a cross in, forced to the feet, back to goal this time of Deborah back to Clark, Clark flashes a shot, come cross, it feels like, across the face of goal, and it's away on this near side. Has it gone across the crossbar from that cross come shot? We wait to see. We need to have a look as well. Really got a lot of strength on it, and I think it might well have gone all the way out on this near side for a throw. There's going to be another couple of changes coming the way of Port Vale. And it is Rory Payton that is being removed from the field of play to be replaced by Devante Cole. We'll go up front, started at the weekend as well. Ronan Curtis also being removed from the action as well. Both those forwards have given their all in a pretty thankless task at times. And Jayden Stockley is on as well, back from injury, to play at the top of the park. This is might give the Arsenal rearguard a little something to think about. Mikel Merino, he makes his way off, and well, Arsenal bringing out some big guns here in the shape of Gyökeres. He comes on to take the place, and also ensure that it is Gabriel Magalhaes is coming on as well. Change is being made. Looks like Ben White might be the man that's making way on this near side as Gabriel Magalhaes comes on. Ben White's just found out from the referee, of all people, that he's actually being substituted, and well, that was a little tactical point. Only one will know, but Gabriel Magalhaes comes on. And there we go. Arsenal still lead by a goal to nil. 72 minutes on the clock. Norgard lifts the ball forward. Headed forward by Connor Hall. First touch here for Jayden Stockley, but his ball out on his near side to Headley is too long and too strong. Goes straight out of place. Career throw to Arsenal down the side of their own penalty area, away to my left-hand side. And now it is a case of can they find a chance. Ball is thrown back to Saliba. Saliba to Mosquera, who's come across the right back. Played into Gabriel Magalhaes and across his own 18-yard box, away to my left-hand side to Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly back to Kepa Arrizabalaga. Back out to Lewis Skelly. Arsenal retaining possession. Wrapping some players up with a bit of cotton wool, you fancy. You have to get him into the legs. Good ball, Mike. Lewis Skelly to Martinelli. Martinelli's round the back of Clark. Clark gets back. Martinelli's down by the dead ball line. Does a little nutmeg. And in the end, Jesse Debra for Port Vale takes it away on the far side and clears up towards the halfway line, where Stockley brings the ball down under close control. And Gabriel Magalhaes, I thought, went straight through the back of him, but the referee has allowed play to go on. It's one or two decisions that have seemed to favour the side from the higher echelons of the English pyramid. Just from a neutral perspective. Eze to Mosquera. Mosquera back to Saliba. Saliba square to Gabriel Magalhaes. 18 yards inside his own half for Arsenal, to the left of the halfway line. Saliba cross on this near side, finds Mosquera. Mosquera right foot tries to get a ball in behind Connor Hall. Connor Hall takes a touch and keeps the ball in play. Can only thrash it into the Arsenal half, and it has been cleared. Diamond tries to get past Connor Hall, runs into the big centre half. Reece Walters tries to play the ball forward, looking for the run of Garrity. Misplaced and goes in behind and runs through to Arrizabalaga. Arsenal build again with Lewis Skelly. Down that far touchline to Martinelli. Martinelli wants to take on Clark. Clark back to the halfway line to Lewis Skelly. Give and go with Norgard, and then turns it in field to Gabriel Magalhaes, and across this time to William Saliba. 12 yards inside the Arsenal half, which is to the left of the halfway line. Gabriel picks up the ball, plays it out to Lewis Skelly. 12 yards inside the half of Port Vale. Port Vale defend the goal away to my right, and back it goes to Gabriel Magalhaes and across to Saliba. Saliba to Mosquera. Mosquera under pressure by Devante Cole. Turns back and plays a horrible ball across the face of his own goal. Straight to the feet of Garrity. Garrity finds Walters. Walters almost looks for a right-footed shot from 20 yards. Clark comes into support. Over goes Crosdale. Crosdale to Clark. They've got themselves in a bit of a pickle, and their best opportunity of a shot on target there from Reece Walters has caught them out, and there was an awkward fall there by Clark, the substitute, and he's holding high up at the top of his hamstrings and into his buttocks. He fell rather awkwardly, but Mosquera with the ball into a blind alley, picked off by Garrity, fell to Reece Walters, who had the opportunity to have a go with the instep of his right boot, but then elected to move it to one side. Clark's back up, but he's holding high up at the top of his hamstring and into his buttocks. So he's had a bit of a pull there. Arsenal try and play the ball up to the halfway line. Touch and turn this time by Gyökeres. Played in field. Arsenal give it away with Eze. Port Vale just applying a little bit of pressure in the middle of the park, not up front or anywhere else, but it is 75 on the clock. Just 15 regulation minutes to go. And Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. A goal scored on 8 minutes by Eberechi Eze. He had a save, shot saved by, a good chance saved by Gauchi in the first half. But Arsenal have not, I repeat, not ripped open Port Vale and created the host of chances that you would have thought this Premier League appearance-laden side would have done. And they've given the ball away now as they try to play it to Nwaneri. Shot comes in from Devante Cole, just goes over the top of the crossbar for Port Vale from 25, 26 yards. But Kepa Arrizabalaga there with the triumphant heralding of what I said, a snip at the price, have played the ball into Nwaneri, whose touch has given the ball away. And Devante Cole has just got it dipping over the crossbar, but right over the head of Kepa Arrizabalaga, so I think he always had it covered. But just a little point there for Arsenal fans listening to this commentary, that you are only one goal to the good. You are the superior passing side. You are possession and territory the better side. In shouts of corners you are the better side, and chances created the better side, but you are only one goal to the good. And Devante Cole has just lifted one over the top of the crossbar from a casual mistake at the back. That's how slender a lead is here in this Carabao Cup third round tie. Arsenal just outside their own 18-yard box. Gabriel Macalis out to Lewis Skelly, back to Macalis. Macalis now lifts the ball up towards the halfway line. Headed infield slightly awkwardly by Deborah. Deborah finds Gyökeres for Arsenal. Arsenal see Mosquera play it out to Diamond. Diamond now driving towards the Port Vale penalty area. Goes inside Headley. The little ball could have been laid off to Eze, but he goes backwards to Miles Lewis Skelly. Now to Norgard. Norgard 30 yards from the goal of Port Vale. A give and go with Eze. Another give and go with Eze. Eze plays the ball to Lewis Skelly and out to Diamond. Arsenal would like, and I repeat, would like to put this slightly out of the range of Port Vale. One might be already on the cusp of being out of range, but in football you never know. Good win back there by Walters. Walters to Hall. Hall up to Stockley. Stockley back from injury. Looks a little rusty and gets dispossessed by Nwaneri. Nwaneri and co. feed the ball out to Lewis Skelly.